bullets and tear gas rocked Moyo town as police had running bottles to disperse the angry and crowdy BODA riders. It was a hard day for the police, the LC5 chairman and the BODA riders in Moyo district as the angry BODA men wished the district chairman to explain the unjustified police operations in Moyo town. Let's have more on that story.
I'm a leader, 50 TCE. Offices, I'm a leader, security, police, DPC, I'm a one year president. Iowa. Targeted Hidri. The Sironi Rama Iro, Anya Trauma Iani, Carada local TC. Amanya Yoki people's hologa. Caridewa.
This morning, police in their routine work of road safety impounded some boda motorcycles. So the boda men came demanding that their bodas be released, and they wanted to march to the police station. So it is over that the police was able to repulse them and contain the situation. And then later on, we had a meeting with them, and the matter was resolved amicably. The major issues issues of lack of permit, lack of insurance, and protective gears. You know, these are major common areas, this business. Whenever police is enforcing that, they always meet resistance. So these are really the issues that caused that relationship to be sour. It is basically about enforcing those safety laws. Now, I want to ask the boda community all over. Boda industries is an industry which gives employment for our youth, and we appreciate that. I only want to ask them that in every business there are rules, especially the rules for safety. So they should not be afraid of police. They should be able to cooperate and also talk. Whenever police stop you and you do not have what they need, you should be able to explain yourself and be able, and police, they are human beings. I believe they can understand. But also lastly, I would want to ask them to prepare the necessary documents so that you cannot be always hiding away from the road, because boda business is done on the road. So there are key things that you need, especially insurance on a motorcycle and then driving license. These are very key for your safety and for road use, really. So I want to encourage the boda men to make an effort to work towards these things, attaining them.
And more in our stories for the evening. A team of ARUA City Council leaders are set to petition the Speaker of Parliament, Anita Mong, over the relocation of ARUA City local government offices to the Vura sub-county. This was revealed on Tuesday during the 10th ARUA City Council sitting at ARUA City Hall in ARUA City. Wadri Sam Nyakwa, the ARUA City Mayor, has blamed the Minister for Local Government, Honorable Raphael Magezi, for the confusion that is currently being termed as the Minister's failure to resolve the issues affecting service delivery. Let's have more on that story.
Aivu Division Mayor Marlon Avutia has stressed that there is need for police force to increase the police officers in the division and other sister security forces to join in to support the division. The mayor disclosed that today during the fourth council sitting of the first session of the division at ARUA cooperative in Vara ARUA City. The mayor says due to lack of police manpower, more police posts cannot be added. Therefore, there is need for manpower to address the matter.
The lack of manpower is the reason why we have not opened other police posts where actually we need them most. I will give you an example of Oluko here. The people from Lower Oluko will always find it difficult to access police services at the former sub-county headquarters. If you went to Arroy, the people of Bura, the upper areas, Kamula and so on, will find it difficult to access services in the former Arroy sub-county. The police post that was in former Adumi was moved to Billion Trade Center. Now people from Kati here, Kati, Anyara, people of OMBATINI here, they find it very difficult.
On the issue of transport for the police officers, Marlon stresses that the territorial police of Aivu lacks motor vehicles to address patrol and responses.
Lack of transport. We have made the efforts to go to the police headquarters in Kampala. We have been assured that in curbing crime by giving information timely.
Reporting for Western Television, I am Dennis Oringi.
Still on Tuesday this week, the Mayor Aivu Division Marlon Avutia is requesting the Uganda Police Force to increase the number of police officers deployed to work in the division. The Mayor says due to the lack of police manpower, they cannot open more police stations in the division. Let's have more in that story.
Aivu Division Mayor Marlon Avutia has stressed that there is need for police force to increase the police officers in the division and other sister security forces to join in to support the division. The mayor disclosed that today during the fourth council sitting of the first session of the division at ARUA cooperative in Vara ARUA City. The mayor says due to lack of police manpower, more police posts cannot be added. Therefore, there is need for manpower to address the matter.
The lack of manpower is the reason why we have not opened.
And more in our stories for the evening. Shortage of classrooms and other infrastructure continue to affect most government-aided primary schools in the West Nile region. As in this report compiled by Emmanuel Agele, OMBATINI Primary School is one of the schools hit hard by lack of school infrastructure. Let's have a look.
OMBATINI Primary School in OMBATINI Village, Ochopi Parish, Katrini Sub-County, Terego District is grappling with shortage of infrastructure due to the overwhelming number of pupils that come from the 9 villages and beyond. The school registered 1,639 learners this term, with the lower classes of Primary 1 and Primary 2 having the biggest and the most affected as pupils are seen seated on the floor. The head teacher of the school stated that his continuous demand to the district and NGOs has all been in vain.
The school is serving 9 villages, and there are some learners coming from the city. All these kind of working from the school, and the others who cross River now from Marata to come to the school. So it covers wide coverage. The enrollment of the school is 1,639. We have 837 boys and 802 girls, making a total of 1,639. Teacher-pupil ratio is not all that good. While in P1, we will find that now there are 470 pupils, handled by one teacher. In P2, we have 260 pupils, and yet in one classroom, handled also by one teacher. And in P3, we have a total of 247, also handled by one teacher. So, teacher-pupil ratio is great. The worst classes are P1, P2, P3, and P4. The classrooms are not enough, so it is very difficult for us now to separate the classes, except we have separated the P4 into 2 classes, but the rest, there are no classrooms. Performance, due to now the lack of teachers and a great number of learners in the school, performance is not all that okay, because now monitoring these learners, especially in P1, movement is a problem to the teacher in the class. So now if one child is now doing a different thing at one corner, the teacher may not find it very difficult to reach that learner, because movement is not easy in the class. The enrollment in the school here is constant. It is constant. We started experiencing it way back in 2000. And I have been forwarding this problem to the district. Like last year, I captured the photograph P1. And I wanted support now for tent, which I did. And my requisition was approved by the cow of Terego. But when I try now to go to UN for support, they referred me, the UN in ARUA, they referred me to Koboko. And up to now, my request is not taken up yet. We are still in that situation.
Odias Kovia, a primary 1 teacher at OMBATINI Primary School, admits that out of the 470 pupils in her class, about 70 of them picks exactly what she teaches, as the pupil-teacher ratio is beyond, and it makes reaching to each pupil very difficult.
Now my challenge is the number is now beyond. The number is beyond to the expected pupil-teacher ratio. So I'm really trying. It's not easy, but because I love my job and I love being with them, I'm doing my best to deliver the content. But it's not easy. All in all, at least maybe out of 470 learners, around 70 may pick. Around 70 may pick exactly what I was delivering, or else what I've been delivering. But the rest may be left in dilemma, because I don't reach to them one by one. It's not easy to pass, to reach each pupil, because the number, as you have seen, is not easy to pass. You may feel you want to reach the other corner. Somewhere another one is also trying to do something queer. So for that reason, it is not easy. But since I like being with them, I'm trying my level best. But I need assistance. I need much intervention from all the sectors.
So what I want to request the government is to provide for us classrooms, especially in P1. Even P1s are too congested. There is no place for teacher can pass to see what that person is doing there. Cars have around three stances, but those stances are not enough for us to use. But we need to have more stances for girls, because if you take P1s, those children do not even can use latrines well.
The P1s, there are many. The classroom is not enough. I want to request the government to provide us more classrooms so that the learners can be accommodated well.
However, the district chairman of Terego District, Wilfred Saka, confirmed the progress of putting up more classrooms at the school to reduce the congestion, and affirmed that the district is doing her best to handle the situation, much as the funding is not adequate enough to sort out the issues at once. But slowly, he confirms they shall improve the education in Terego District as infrastructure challenges in schools is not only in OMBATINI, as the same scenario was able to be seen in Ragem Primary School in ARUA City, where the Primary 1 pupils were attending classes through the window due to lack of enough desks and classrooms. Emmanuel Agele, West Nile TV Nile Cast.
And more in our stories for the evening. The leader of the West Nile KONY war victims, Matwa Alex, was arrested on Thursday but later on released on the order of the resident city commissioner, Dr. Kello Ali Sopio, on allegations of inciting violence and requesting for guns from the government to fight the rebel leader, Joseph Kony. Dennis Seringi reports more.
Matwa Alex, the leader of the West Nile KONY war victims, yesterday was arrested on the order of Arua City Resident Commissioner Alisa Kello and later on released late in the evening. According to the Resident City Commissioner Dr. Alisa Kello, Matwa was arrested for inciting violence and asking for guns so that they can use for fighting rebel leader Joseph Kony, who they accused for killings and destruction of their property during the time they were doing business between Kampala and Arua.
Inciting community over nothing. If genuinely the people he has lost goods that time, they are going to be paid. He has moved to offices. We've talked to him. The members of parliament have helped him to write letters to relevant offices, but he cannot settle down. That means something is not right.
Some of the executive members of KONY war victims claim that if so, that Matwa made those utterances then, it was due to anger that arose over failure by the government of the Republic of Uganda to pay them as KONY war victims.
Currently, everything is just finished, only to wait when to give us the money. All the papers we have, even if someone could be out, and then the papers are still with him there. If he could be out here, then he will show you the steps of these documents from A to Z. Everything is finished. All that, when to give that money, who is to give. The letter he wrote is bad. That indicates what, in fact, it's not him, but it's the entire members who put the effort to write that letter like that. But only they start to allege that issue on him. That time, as he called the meeting, he asked the members, now everything is now like that, what to do now? People said that he should write, he should let the secretary to write down that now government has failed to compensate. It is better, as we are robbed by KONY, let government to give what guns, so that they go and look for KONY. That's the only issue.
The resident city commissioner is now requesting the KONY war victims to be patient as government works on their claims.
Give us time to follow up, because it is not only here, it is everywhere. So we cannot do much, we cannot push beyond the expected. But at the right time, like the Bible says, God's timing is the best. At the right time, the genuine people will be paid. You will find there is verification going on. And verification does not take one day. It does not take 2 days. It takes years. So people should only be patient.
It should be noted that on 22nd November 2021, a team of officers from the Chieftaincy of Military Intelligence came to Arua to meet and verify the KONY war victims at Ondupraka. Reporting for West Nile Television, Nile Cast, I am Dennis Oringi.
And more in our stories for the evening. Religious leaders, political leaders, the youth and other stakeholders on Friday took to the streets of Arua City protesting against homosexuality in the West Nile and Uganda at large. The demonstration that was organized and led by the district Kadi is aimed at promoting moral culture among the people of the West Nile. Joseph Jurua reports more.
The Muslim community, together with the other religious leaders and the political wing led by the resident city commissioner of Arua City, took to the streets of Arua City protesting against homosexuality in West Nile. The demonstration was organized and led by the Muslim community in Arua City.
No way out! What common sense do you have? Nothing we don't want. A man can meet with a man, a lady can meet with a lady. Nonsense! Take it back to America.
Many people, so we wouldn't like to leave it to stand in our country, and we believe that God is going to silence everything and support the government in taking this decision.
The leader of the ghetto youth in Arua City condemned the act of homosexuality in the country and urged the youth to stand against homosexuality, as most ghetto youth are most targeted.
Why we have joined the Muslim community is because the ghettos are the target of each and everything, but basically homosexuality. That is why we have come together and say no to homosexuality. Even in one of the banners it was written, snake was not even a gay. Now why should we promote and follow homosexuality? Though the ghettos are the targets. That's why we have come all together with the religious leaders and to fight homosexuality together. The ghettos are saying no to homosexuality.
The legal officer of Uganda Muslim Supreme Council for Arua District, Mr. Hadat Salim, however, explained that the act of homosexuality is a derogable right which many Western countries are adopting to kill other cultures across the world.
In our constitution, the 1995 Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, under Article 43 and 44, it distinguishes two rights. One is a derogable right, and then under 44 is a non-derogable right. It says the right to freedom of expression and so on, which the LGBT community is basically relying on to say that they also have a right, has to undergo or has to go through the domestic legal framework. Public interest, say for West Nile here, clearly dictates that lesbianism, gayism, intersex, bisexual questioning has no place in West Nile.
Sheikh Abu Jafar Shaban, District Qadi of Arua District Muslim Council, and Albert Aziku, the Provost of Emmanuel Cathedral, who represented the Bishop of Mahdi and West Nile Diocese, have encouraged the public not to bow down to poverty pressure, as the act of homosexuality is inhuman in African tradition.
What we are expressing today, we have marched, we have sweated, first of all, to Almighty God, that we are against this act. Secondly, we are supporting our government and our leaders. The first leader, by the way, Islam has been built on one principle, and it is supreme. The principle of loyalty. Loyalty to Almighty God, where all the supremacy lies. Then secondly, supremacy, loyalty to your leaders. You need to follow your leaders, including your fathers at home. After God, God mentioned our parents. But there's exception to this general rule. There's an exception to this general rule that if that leader deviates from the main cause.
To thank the government of Uganda in a very special way for taking a bold decision. Other governments may be fearing, but the government of Uganda and the able leadership of General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni stood up saying, no! What do we like? What do we like? We like nothing. We have rich African heritage. Everything is available. We have everything. We don't want to depend on any other person. If the person is on our side, we can depend on. If the person wants to give us things, wants to give us grants, wants to give us other things, so that we can be inclined in our heritage, we must say no.
Dr. Alice Akelo, the resident city commissioner for Arua City, encouraged the public to report any act of homosexuality to the nearest authorities for immediate interventions and urged the public to be vigilant of the people who disguise to offer scholarships to their children.
Man, don't marry your fellow man. Woman, don't marry your fellow woman. They are targeting young people so that tomorrow this generation is dead. We have schools here. We have raised engineers from ARUA, from West Nile. You don't need to leave your parents to go and get a better education everywhere. Stay with your parents. Get educated from ARUA. The syllabus is the same. Go to schools that we know. And as the district guardian say, if you have a teacher in your school that is trying to touch your breast, run to me. I'm coming to arrest that teacher myself. If you have that male teacher who is trying to lure you to go to his home, run to me. I'm coming to arrest him. We have said no, and it must be no.
Recently, President Museveni signed the anti-homosexuality bill into a law in Uganda. According to the act, anyone found guilty of practicing homosexuality in Uganda is liable to life imprisonment. Joseph Jura reporting for West Nile TV, Nile Cast.
Young people say no.
And more in our stories for the evening. The Arua city councillors and technical officers raised complaints over the poor state of roads, attributing the problem to the lack of road equipment and inadequate funding for road repair and maintenance in Arua city. Let's have more on that story. During the 10th Arua City Council sitting at Arua City Hall in Arua City councillors and the technical officers raised the complaint about the poor state of roads, attributing the problem to lack of road equipment and lack of adequate funding for the repair and maintenance of the roads in Arua City.
When it comes to roads, I don't know if there is any road in Arua City here which is smooth. Maybe with the exception from Arua to Koboko Road. That's the only smooth road in Arua. When you go to this so-called Arua district, you go to their land, their roads are all very smooth. Why? We have always budget for the roads. Where does the money go? Has it been implemented? It doesn't mean that every year government does not send money for rural roads. Please, these are the things we have to look at. Me, this year, I don't want to see any money being returned to the ministry. Mr. Speaker, it always annoys me to hear that money has been returned to the ministry. And yet, Mr. Speaker, we have very many activities in the city here. When you request for money, they say there is no money. But what is always that money to be returned to the ministry?
Ideal Yoti James, the Councillor Ivor West Division Arua City, recommended to the Speaker that contracting local contractors would serve as an alternative solution for the repair and maintenance of the roads within the city.
On the same note, works are taken for service. We have been talking of roads. And the main reason is we don't have the gadgets, the equipment to maintain our roads, despite of having millions of money in that department of works. If I can question council, now that we don't have the gadgets, we don't have the equipment, and we are now 2 years down the road, miners working on our roads. Are our roads going to remain in that condition? Where shall we take the money? Can we have alternative fee to ensure that our roads are worked on? We have the local contractors there. Because we don't have the machines. Now what should we do? Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, if you follow this road from Awindiri, BAT and the border, this road from Ethiopia, former Pazulu headquarters and the border, Paita, this road from Otoparaka and the Liswa and the border, even those roads from Tatamu and so on. Surely our people are complaining. I don't know how our faith will be in 2026. Members, I don't know how our faith will be. And the people, our local people, they attribute it to we leaders, when actually we have a lot of money in the account. And the question is, there is no machine to maintain our roads. I therefore recommend that let us go a local way. We use our local contractors, so that at least these roads, the conditions of these roads, can be put to a fair state.
Reporting for West Nile Television, Okumaringa Christine, Nile Cast. And more in our stories for the evening. In order to make learners practically understand what democracy means, the pupils of Spring Nursery Primary School located in ARUA City today held the prefectorial elections. Dennis Oringi has more on that story.
Springs Nursery and Primary School today exposed their pupils to what they termed as positive democracy, with the pupils holding elections at the end of campaign period that ended on Monday, where candidates made the usual huge pledges.
My name is Shamila Sijali Asime, and I've applied as a head girl of Spring Nursery and Primary School. And the reason why I've applied to be a head girl is that children in the school, they don't want to follow the rules and regulations, so I want to make them to follow.
I contested as the assistant head girl of Springs Nursery and Primary School for the following reason. In this school, last year we were prefects. We did not take our work seriously. Children took it as a job. We were having very small leaders, so we were not able to make the children follow school rules and regulations. We are trying to do our best. We want to win so that our school can be a better school. And sometimes our brothers are facing challenges in water. We're trying to help them as leaders. We convince them not to over misuse water so that we get water in the dining hall. Children like playing. We're trying to stop it. Sometimes children play with toilet paper. We want to stop it. This is where I would like to stop. Thank you.
So I applied for the post of being a head prefect for the following reasons. Because since when I was in school, I really wanted to be a head prefect. And now if I'm given a chance, I would like to be happy because there will be discipline in the school, and I will be like representing the schools in events and everything like.
The election was conducted by the School Electoral Commission with the support from the country's Electoral Commission in terms of voting materials.
The whole process by actual advertising posts. We advertised 20 posts, of which we invited the candidates to actually apply in, and they saw interest, of which in 6 positions the candidates went unopposed, because they were just, let me say, one candidate just applied in such a position. So like we organized our general open campaigns on Monday. Then after the general campaigns, the pupils were able to, let me say, the candidates were able to show their, in fact, to give out their views to their colleague pupils as to why they are applying. Then right now we are carrying out the election, and this year I am expecting the election to be really better compared to the previous years.
According to the head teacher of the school, Geoffrey Etoma, the move will help the learners not only grow into responsible citizens, but also give them first-hand experience on how national elections and campaigns are conducted.
As a school, we have this mode of election because it's the mode of election that we use mainly in our country's election system, and this is part of the ways of teaching the young ones to be able to grow up and become responsible citizens, to be able to know their rights and to be able to make rightful decisions through voting for their leaders. Of course, we try as much as possible to not interrupt with the other events because the lessons are going on. We have every class has a polling station.
Over 800 pupils from P3 to P7 are expected to exercise their democratic rights to vote during the school leadership election.
The reason why I participated in voting this year is that Springs as a school cannot run without prefects. So we need to choose some strong leaders. Because one day we might come to school when the compound is dirty and when the plates are scattered everywhere. So we need
strong leaders to tell us what we should do, even though we're grown-ups. Some people need to be told what to do. So, the reason why I decided to participate in elections.
Springs Nursery and Primary School is one of the outstanding private primary schools located in ARUA City in terms of academic performance. Reporting for West Nile Television Nile Cast, I am Dennis Oringi.
And more in our stories for the evening, the ARUA City Health Authorities under the leadership of the City Health Inspector have seized trucks that for many times have been seen offloading perishable food items that are being packed together with non-food items like cement. The ARUA City Health Inspector Apangu Godfrey stated that they have discouraged a practice that proves to be dangerous and to those consuming the food items. Emmanuel Agele has more.
ARUA City Health officials, under the leadership of the City Health Inspector, has seized trucks that for many times are being seen offloading perishable food items that are being packed together with non-food items like cement. The City Health Inspector, Apangu Godfrey, stated that they have discouraged the practice as it proves to be dangerous to those consuming the food items.
Food safety and probably protection of the consumers, we have always discouraged this kind of practice of packaging perishable food items together with the non-food items like cement, which can be hazardous to the health of the consumers. So what we have always done is when we get this kind of scenario, we apprehend, we arrest the vehicles, and you can see the behavior. The cement is the cabbage is loaded directly on the road like this, and we have seen the kind of consumption practices as far as cabbage is concerned. Many people eat this cabbage as salads, which is never cooked. It's not cooked, and it's just sliced, and even sometimes without washing. If you walk just by the roadside here, you will see there are people who are making chapati, Rolex and so on, but you don't see them having water. There's no water at all. And at the end of the day, this is just carried and it's chopped to make salads and so on. So we are saying these practices might stop. We are now saying this is hazardous for consumption. We are not going to allow it to be eaten. The step we have taken is to dispose this off. We're going to dispose it and not allow it to be sold in the market. That's why we have stopped them from taking them away. The measures we have put in place is, you can see, I was at the police post. I engaged the market vendors leadership. The market master was in. Some of our law enforcement officers were here. We're going to ensure that any of these vehicles that come will have our team that checks them before they offload their products and so on. Good enough, we are working with the police, and we are going to engage the traffic police. Before these vehicles access town, we'll want them to be checked before they enter town. We are doing this for the protection of the consumers and ensuring public. In a number of occasions, we have locked vehicles, some of these lorries, but we have seen some of them have been perpetual offenders repeatedly, but some of them are like first-time offenders that are telling us this is the first time to do it. So what we're saying is, whether it's your first time, as long as it compromises health and the safety of the consumers, we're not going to encourage it. We will, of course, stop this kind of practices.
Some of the food items that are most commonly seen being packed together with non-food items include cabbage, matoke, fruits like watermelon, pineapple, and many others. And the city health officials have put stringent measures to stop the practice. Emmanuel Agele, West Nile TV Nile Cast.
And to end our Nile Cast weekly news roundup on West Nile Television, Mvepi Secondary School in Mvepi Refugee Settlement in Terego District has received solar power system from Dr. Deep with support from the World Bank. Joseph Jirwa reports more.
The management of Mvepi Secondary School in Mvepi Refugee Settlement, Terego District, has applauded the World Bank support to the school through Development Response for Development Impact Project Dr. Deep. Upon the successful equipping of the institution with solar power system, the project that started in 2022 was delayed due to the COVID-19 pandemic, hence halting its completion. Akui Merigoret, the head teacher of the school, explained.
The project started in 2020 and there was a break in the project due to COVID-19, and then the takeoff of the implementation started in 2022. So the activity was implemented in starting January 2022. We received 3 solar panels from Dr. Deep, and then the installation was considered for 3 blocks. We had this block, we had this block, and we had the other block.
Benz Morris, the senior operations officer for Dr. Deep, said that
really happy to see the work that's been delivered here. With the very early stages of discussions with the government about Dr. Dip 2 and whether there will be a successor project to look at the impact that Dr. Dip has been able to provide and how we can really look at financing and working with the government for the next phase of the project, Dr. Dip 2.
He also highlighted on the government's plan to improve on clean energy solutions as one of the ways to improve on the environment management system.
We have a big national operation with $600 million looking at on and off grid energy solutions, including $124 million for refugees and host communities. We're still waiting for that project to become effective, which should happen soon, and then we'll be really looking at a whole range of additional investments happening in refugee hosting districts like Torrego to provide both on and off grid solutions for the energy needs of schools, health centres and the rest of the community.
Meanwhile, the school management has had to take advantage of the available resources and utilize them maximally, since the other power sources have got their own challenges attached.
The coming of Dr. Deep enabled us in the running of office work because we were able to use one printer with the installation of the power. Enabled us to support the office work.
The component of OMEME, whatever energy sources, they have their schedules. You can be load shaded and you don't have this, but because the sun is here, we are blessed that there is this power. Please let us utilize what we are having on the roof to have the power system running, alongside this government power line that is coming.
Goretti, however, said that the school is in the process of registering with the relevant authorities to ensure that it is licensed by the Ministry of Education and gets a center number.
The licensing of the institution, then at the same time we are coordinating the commissioners in the education standard agents to support us in the registration and then obtaining the center. Our biggest cost for the learners is when we are transferring them to other centers for examination. So it's really our struggle to see that we obtain a center in this institution.
Dr. Deep is one of the relief projects that is undertaken and implemented in most refugee hosting districts across West Nile, mainly looking at the aspect of boosting infrastructure. Mvepi Secondary currently has an enrollment of 914 refugee learners, with 723 male learners and 192 female learners, while 215 are host community learners, with 129 male and 86 female learners. Joseph Jurua, Nile Cast.
And with that story, viewer, we've come to the end of the Nile Cast weekly news roundup on West Nile Television. Thank you for being with us from the beginning of the Nile Cast to the end of the Nile Cast, only on West Nile Television. Please stay tuned to the rest of the subsequent programs that follow. My name is Okumiringa Christine. Have a good evening.